Hey, you got the Captain, Captain Fuzzy here, and welcome to the premiere episode of Source Filmmaker Animation 101. Um, I planned on releasing this a little bit earlier in the week, but due to unforeseen circumstances, I had to push it back just a little bit. But here we are, and we're finally on the run here. So, the first things first here, this is not going to be designed to teach you how to do Source Filmmaker, how to use Source Filmmaker. This is to try and teach you how to animate in Source Filmmaker. So, with that being known, the first thing you need to know is how to use Source Filmmaker. So, if you don't know how to use Source Filmmaker, there is one place you can find everything you need to know, and that's right here at the Newbie's Guide to SFM. It contains everything in here that you would want to know on how to fix common problems, how to use Source Filmmaker. These are direct links to all of Valve's official Source Filmmaker tutorials, as well as there are some tutorials in here as well for different things done by other contributors to the community. So, this is the best place to learn how to fix any problems you have or, anything like that. So, that being said, the best way to get to it is to simply go to the Source Filmmaker community, go to the discussions tab, and it's pinned right here at the top. You can't miss it. So, okay, that being covered, uh, that'll get you up to speed. Also, during this series, I will only be using assets that are default to Source Filmmaker. That means they come with it. So, anything that you see in here is going to be included in the base Source Filmmaker that comes with it. Um, the map, for an example, is called Stage Big BSP, and it comes with Source Filmmaker. And I'll also be using the Source Filmmaker characters that come default with Source Filmmaker. Okay, so well, one other thing I should touch on. You need to familiarize yourself with the 12 basic principles of animation. Now, I know this is Wikipedia, and Wikipedia is kind of not always the best source, but in this particular case, it is, because this has been deemed to have all of the relevant information so that you can get a basic idea of how the 12 principles work. The best source, of course, is the book here, The Illusion of Life Disney Animation by Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnston. Um, if you can get a hold of this book or one similar to it, that could be some interesting reading. But if you don't want to go through the problem of getting the book and all of that kind of stuff, then you can use this. It covers pretty much everything in the book, a little more abbreviated but useful nonetheless. Um, Showing the different techniques: squash and stretch, anticipation, staging, all of that kind of thing. And it's a wealth of information to help you make realistic animations. So, familiarize yourself with the 12 basic principles of animation. Make sure you know how to use Source Filmmaker, and you'll be ready to go and follow along with this. And we'll be building on different things as we go. This is a series after all. So, if you miss an episode, go back and rewatch it later, and that'll get you up to speed with what we're doing. Now, the first thing we need to do is we need something to animate. So, we've got to spawn a character. So, we're going to create an animation set for new model. And we're going to bring up in the top mod filter, we want TF movies, and then down here type HWM, and that will bring up all the HWM models. I prefer to use them because they have a little more, a few extra things basically, without getting too technical, that allow animations to be done a little bit better than the regular player characters. But however, you can use the player characters to do this, but you may run into some problems. So I'm going to spawn the scout, so I'm going to select him, and I'm going to click open, and the scout pops in there. Now, if you've used it, Source Filmmaker, any at all, you know that you cannot move anything, pretty much, in the clip editor, which this is the clip editor. We need to go into the motion editor to reposition him. So, we go into the motion editor, and we will expand the scout's animation set, go to body, expand it, and click root transform, and we're going to position him. Now, I like to use this to do it, and I'll show you. First, we're going to drag the 0 slider to the right, and that positions him where we want him to be to start off our animation. However, he's facing in a different direction, and I want him facing the camera. So you can do this one of two ways. You can select the rotation manipulator, and you can swing him around to the direction you want him facing, but it's not always extremely accurate. So I'll hit Control Z and put him back, and go down here to where it says Root Transform, ROT for rotation. Double click it, and you'll see 3 sets of numbers. Highlight this first number and type in 90 and hit enter. And now he's facing forward. Now that we've got him facing forward, now we can start to set him up, continue to set him up, and get him ready to animate. Now, as you can see, he spawns in kind of a T pose. So what we want is we want a little bit more of an idle pose. So for this, we're going to make things a little bit easier. We're going to import a sequence that will cause him to look a little more normal. So we're going to open this up, and his ragdoll is pretty much an idle pose where he's standing still and straight. So that's what we're going to add to him. It's on there, and we can hit enter to confirm it, and now we have him in a position that we want him in. And one final step now is to drag the playhead preset to the right, and this will negate any kind of motion that may have inadvertently been added, and hit enter again. So now he's a blank slate. He's ready to animate. So next thing we're going to do now, like I said, people have different ways of doing animations. I'm basically teaching the way that I do it. So if you experiment a little bit and you find that one system works better for you than another, then by all means go with it. Develop your own style. There's nothing wrong with that at all. In fact, I encourage it. Develop your own style to where everything comes comfortably to you. Now, at this point, I need to add a rig, because for me, adding the IK rig makes it a lot easier to pose and manipulate him to make animations. So we're going to highlight the scout, and I'm going to right click, and I am going to come down to rig, and then I'm going to scroll through till I find rig biped simple, and then I'm going to click on it, and that will apply it. And you'll notice everything changes. He now has face, rig body, rig legs, rig arms. There's other things that are in there, but for the purposes of the rig, you can't see them, such as, an other category and some things like that. We'll deal with those later on in the series. Right now, we just want to make an animation with him. So now we have him rigged so that we can make an animation. Now I'm going to switch to my work camera, and move in here a little bit. And what we're going to do is roughly demonstrate one of the 12 basic principles of animation, and that is the squash and stretch. Now, the best way to illustrate the squash and stretch is to make him jump. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to make him jump. So, the best place to start out with this is in this position, and I use kind of a modified blocking technique is what I will do. And here's how basically how it works. What I will do is I'll select his pelvis, and I want the axis manipulator, and what I'm going to do is get him in a position that I want him in. So right now we're at 0. Now we want to go a few seconds ahead so that he's standing still before he moves. So I'm going to move the playhead forward about, well, the first thing we should do, go into the graph editor, and let's press the M for Michael or Mark or whatever you want to use it, M, and place one keyframe, and that's with the pelvis selected. Place one keyframe. Now we're going to move ahead approximately 2 seconds. We'll move ahead about 2 seconds. Now we're going to place another one, another M. Now I want him to now crouch down. So this is the start of the animation, and well, this is the start of the full thing. This is the start of the actual animation. So now I want to move ahead about a half second. We'll go up to about 2.5 here, and at this point I want him to crouch down. So I'm going to crouch him down like this. Now you'll notice his hands are still up there. That's one key thing that I forgot to demonstrate, so I'm going to hit Control Z and bring it back. Before we start animating him, what we need to do is open up the rig arms, and we need to let's go ahead and go all the way back to the beginning here. We need to drag the pelvis to the right hand and drag the pelvis to the left hand. This locks the hands to the pelvis, so now when I drag him downward at this point, his hands follow along, like so. So now we'll drag him down into a crouching position. Now, of course, people don't crouch with their back completely straight and all of that kind of thing. So when we get to this point, we also need to adjust his back. So we're going to tilt his pelvis forward a little bit, and we're going to have him in that position right there. And then we're going to move forward about another half second, up to about 3, and then we're going to put another keyframe, and then we're going to move a couple of frames ahead, about that far, and now we're going to have him jump in this particular spot. So we're going to grab this manipulator, and he's going to go up and like this in the air. Now we've done that, and now we're going to move a couple more frames ahead, and then we're going to bring him back down to the crouching position again, and then we're going to move a couple more frames ahead. We'll move up to about the half second mark, and then we're going to bring him back up to the straight standing position with him back like this, like so. Now if we go back and we play this all the way through, see, that went kind of quick. Now what you'll notice is when we play this through, he straightens out and goes up in the air. and he's not supposed to do that. But that's okay, we can fix that. So we'll go back to the beginning. We will select this, the motion editor. We'll drag this end of the motion editor up to the point where it lands right on that point. Then we'll go back to the graph editor. And now we'll drag this up to this point here. And then we'll go back to the motion editor, and we're going to grab this end and drag it like so until he gets to this point here. Like so. Now that we've got that, now what we want to do is do a playhead preset. Drag the playhead like so. And then we'll jump back to the beginning and we'll play it back. And now he doesn't move. And that's what we want. So now that we've got it where we want it, we can hit Enter to confirm it, Control S to save it, and then we're going to hit Control A to select all the time. And then we will play it back and it should look right. Okay. Now you notice there's a little bit of a quick jerk in there where he's jumping up and down. That's a timing thing, and we'll fix that because it's kind of starting right in here. Yeah. Right there. Now let's go back to the graph editor. Let's zoom in a little bit. And let's select this key and this key, and let's move them ahead just a little bit, like so. Now let's play it back and see. That should slow it down just a little. Well, we need to zoom back in here. Okay. Grab that. Let's grab this, pull it all the way back here. We'll jump back here, and let's play it back and see what it looks like. Okay, it's a little quick right there. Right about there. Okay, and then he starts raising up kind of fast. So let's drag this forward just a little bit. Let's zoom this in. Okay. Now, let's play it back now. Let's stretch this out just a little bit. And we just keep doing this until we get it. There we go. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. I think I like that. Alright, and now you've got your basic squash, and so now that's the basic move, and now blocked in the jump. Except for one little thing right here. At this point, he should be straight. So we're going to straighten him out right there. And now let's see how it looks. Yeah, not bad. Not bad at all. Okay, now you'll notice one thing though. I need to move this over here to the 0. Okay. Now you'll notice one thing though. I mean, it's a pretty stiff jump. But this is the basics. This is what you call blocking it in. So now he's kind of blocked in to how his jump goes, but we needed to make it look a little more realistic. So now, after you've blocked in the jump, like so, Now you go in and you do the tweaking. You do the stuff that makes it look right. So to do this, now we need to add in some head motion. We need to add in some arm motion. His feet need to be adjusted. So what we're going to do is this is all based on the block. So the first thing we're going to do is move it forward until he crouches down. Okay, and that's it. Okay, so first things first. Let's put it all the way back here, and we're going to select his head. And we're going to place one keyframe right there. Then we're going to go back to the pelvis. We're going to move ahead to this keyframe here. And we're going to go back to the head. We're going to place another keyframe there. Then we're going to go back to the pelvis. And this is the point that he squashes down, like so. So now we're going to go back to the head. And at this point, we want the head to tilt up. So we're going to tilt his head up like so. And now, of course, we've got another keyframe there. Now we're going to go back to the pelvis. We're going to move ahead to the next keyframe. There. And then we're going to move to the next keyframe. There. Actually, we need to back up. Okay, we're going to go to that keyframe, then we're going to go back to the head. We're going to set another keyframe there. Then we're going to move ahead one more keyframe. And now he's up in the air. And now we want the head facing forward. So now we're going to go back to the head. And we're going to bring the head back down this way just a little bit. And then we're going to go back to the pelvis. Whoops, not yet. And then we're going to move ahead to this keyframe. And then we're going to go back to the head. And we're going to have his head bend down a little bit from the impact. And then we're going to go back to the pelvis. We're going to move ahead to this keyframe, like so. We'll go back to the head, and then we'll tilt his head back up into a looking forward stance. And now, when you play it all back, there. That's not bad. Not bad at all. So now we've got that part done. So now, what about his arms? His arms go stiff on that too. So we need to have his arms move. So now we're going to select both hands. And you can hold control and select more than one. We're going to select both hands because it actually allows to position the hands a little easier this way. So again, we're going to place our keyframe right there. We're going to go back to the pelvis. And we're going to drag the keyframe up here until we get to this point right here. Then we're going to select both hands again. And we're going to place another keyframe right there. Then we're going to go to pelvis. We're going to move ahead one keyframe. Like so. Then we're going to go back, select both the hands, and we are going to move the hands into more of a jumping position. So we're going to pull the hands forward, and we'll pull them back this way just a little bit, get them like that. Then we're going to rotate the hands just a little bit so that it looks like he's getting ready to jump. And we've got him in a pretty good position there. Now he looks like he's getting ready to jump. And now we're going to go back to the pelvis. We're going to move ahead one keyframe. Select both hands again. And we're going to set another keyframe right there. And then we're going to go back to the pelvis, and we're going to move it forward to that keyframe. And now we're going to reselect his hands again. And now we're going to move the hands up above his head. So now we're going to grab this like so, and we're going to pull his hands out a little bit. And we're going to raise them up. And yeah, this is going to get a little funky here. So what we're going to have to do is do the hands more or less individually, because they're kind of in a weird, going into a weird position. So let's go ahead, drag the hands down where we had them before. And we're going to select one hand at a time. And I'm going to raise this hand up like so. Let's bring her back a little bit. Nah, that's going to mess things up. We're going to raise the hand up. And now the elbow is going to go with it, so we're going to have to adjust the elbow. So then we're going to grab the elbow. We're going to pull it back down a little bit. Then we're going to go back to the hand. We'll raise the hand back up a little bit. Swing it out just a little bit. And up a little bit. And of course, as you can see, we still have to keep adjusting the elbow. And then we go back to the hand and rotate the hand so that it's more upward like so. And there we go. And also, you might want to do the collar. Rotate the collar a little bit. And then we'll go to this hand, and we'll basically do the same process. We'll grab the hand, we'll pull it up. We'll grab the elbow, drag that sucker back down. We'll grab the hand, raise the hand up a little bit more, bring it out a little bit, up, elbow, lower the elbow a little bit, bring it in a little bit. Ooh, it's getting kind of nasty there. Collar, we're going to rotate the collar a little bit, get it in the proper position, and then we got to rotate the hand so that it's in a little bit better position, like so. And while it's not perfect, it's not too bad. Then we're going to go back to the pelvis, and we're going to move this way till we get back to this point. And then we're going to select both the hands again. And in order to get them to come back where they should, we're going to select this key, copy it, and we're going to paste this key right there. Now his hands are coming back down to where they should be. Now the last thing we need to do is jump ahead, about, well, let's switch back to the pelvis so we can see where we're at. We're going to move ahead to this point here where he comes back into a straight position. And then we need to lower his hands back into their proper position. So we're going to bring the hands down, going to bring them back a little bit, and we're going to grab them, we're going to rotate them like so. Let's bring them back just a little bit more. Straighten them out just a little bit. Like so. And last but not least, let's do the collar on one side and the collar on the other. Bring the collar back down. Bring that collar back down. And then we'll grab this elbow. We'll drag it back out this way. And then we'll grab this elbow. We'll drag it back out this way. Like so. Grab both hands. Straighten them out just a little bit more. Move them forward and down just a little bit more. And there we go. And that should do it. Now if we play this back, it's not too terrible bad. But now you'll notice we've got our collarbones in a weird position now. So we can fix that by selecting both collarbones, and we are going to straighten them out a little bit. First thing we're going to do is put okay, I should be able to pull the collarbones back down. Whoa. Nope. We need to rotate those, so we need to pick these individually. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this one and rotate the collarbone back down to where it should be. Pick this one, rotate it back down to where it should be. Yeah, right about there. Actually, I'm going to reset this to default. Now, up. Collar rotation. Nope. Right click on it, set default. And then we're going to click that one. We're going to set it to default. Position. Right click, set the default. Color. Position, set the default. Now they should all be there. Now when he moves, okay, let's go to pelvis. Now in this point right here, we don't want his shoulders moving up like that. We want them to move up down here. So we're going to go back into the motion editor. We're going to drag this down to this point here. And then we are going to, okay, that's where the playhead is. And we're going to drag this over to this point, like so. Now we're going to select both of the collars, and we are going to playhead them, like so. Control. Okay, hit enter. Now let's play it back. That didn't work out the way I wanted it. So let's Control Z it. Let's play it back and see what happens. actually, that doesn't look too bad just as the way it is. Okay, now we just got timing to work on. It's not too bad. That's actually not too bad at all, really. Not too bad, not too bad. And that's pretty much how you do a jump with in an animation like that. We'll just flip over here and we can click it and there he goes. And that's a jump animation. Simple as can be. It's time consuming, yes, but it's simple. And it's not 100% perfect. Actually, I should do the feet too, because they're not, they don't stay straight when you jump. The feet do not stay straight when you jump. Okay, let's zoom this back out a little bit. So, when we get to the point where we want the feet to change, we need to go to the legs, open these up, and we need to select that foot and that foot. Go to the graph editor, and what we are going to do now is place one for the foot. Let's go to the pelvis, scroll forward, select the feet again, and we're going to place another bookmark right there. Then we're going to go back to the pelvis. We're going to move forward to the next. Right there. Right about the half-second mark. Then we're going to select the feet again. We're going to set another bookmark. Then we're going to go back to the pelvis. We're going to move ahead to the next bookmark. Like so. Then we're going to select the feet again. Place another bookmark there. And what this is basically doing is this is just keeping everything in position. This is all timing. Then we're going to go to the pelvis. And we're going to move ahead to that bookmark right there. Actually, that bookmark right there. Now, we are going to select the feet again. We're going to set one more bookmark here. And then we're going to go back to the pelvis. And we're going to move ahead till he's all the way up in the air. Like so, at that bookmark. Then we're going to go back and we're going to select the foot, and we are going to rotate the feet so that the toes are pointing downward, like so. And then we're going to go back to the pelvis, and we're going to move ahead to this point right here. Now, actually, let's back up. And let's select the feet. Okay, let's move forward a couple of frames. Like so. Let's set a bookmark right there. And let's move ahead a couple more frames. let's rotate the feet back up like so. Move ahead to there. Let's set another bookmark. There. Now let's see what that looks like. Not bad. Not bad. He could probably actually stand to be a wee bit higher in his jump. So let's select the pelvis. We're already on that spot, so let's make him go just a little bit higher. Okay, now let's jump it back there. Now let's play it back, see how it looks. Not too bad. That's not too bad of an animation at all. And there you go. It's pretty much cleaned up now, so it's pretty much where it needs to be. So then you can clear that out. We can go back to our clip editor and watch him perform a jump. The timing's a little off, but it's not bad. Like I said, this is just to teach you the basics of how to get around it, and then from this point on, you experiment, come up with your own style, tweak it out. That's basically it. That is pretty much what your squash and stretch will kind of look like when applied to a character in Source Filmmaker. That's it for this episode. A simple jump. And like I said, we will be building on these from here. Two important things I want to point out. A couple of shortcut keys that are your big time favorite. Control S is one that helps you save. It's like a quick save. And another one is Control Z, which allows you to go back. So that if you make a mistake, you can hit Control Z and back up. Both of those are your friends. Remember, save often. Source Filmmaker has been known to crash in the middle of a project, and you don't want to lose a bunch of keyframe work simply because you forgot to save. So Control S, or come up here and click File, Save periodically. That way everything gets saved where it's at. Until next time, you got the Captain, Captain Fuzzy, and I am out of here.